We are here today to talk about wine. Isn't that an exciting conversation? And yet the first thing I have to tell you, of course, is to drink responsibly. And that has different meaning in my family because my grandfather was alcoholic, which affects generations. Just like toxins are passed down from mother to child for generations, so are the emotional consequences of abusing alcohol. So number one, drink responsibly. I'm with Shelly Hope today. Hi, Shelly.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And Shelly's with Scout and Cellar. So I'm going to talk just for a second about some of the health benefits of wine. Wine can be healthy. It helps you relax. It helps you to just relax in a group of people so that you can feel comfortable and enjoy being together a little bit more. Not to lose who you are, but just to relax. And it does have some healthy probiotic benefits. In your gut, you want lots of good bacteria and only a little bit of the bacteria that we think of are bad. So wine can be good for that. It tastes great. I love it with food. I generally don't just sit down and drink a glass of wine, but it pairs so beautifully with so many foods. So there can be a lot of good things about wine. There is resveratrol in the grapes. And yet, you have to be really careful which wines you drink. And that's why I want Shelly to educate us on the bad things about wine, the things that are in most bottles of wine that you don't even know about. You know that our focus is cellular toxicity. Wine does not have a nutrition label on it. So you don't know about all the poisons they put in there. So many people get headaches. It's from the poison in the wine. It's not from the wine. You can drink non-toxic, healthy wines without getting a headache. So Shelly, why don't you just start off by telling us, you know what, tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Scout and Cellar. Tell me a little bit about the company.
Okay, thanks, Tammy. I started with Scout and Cellar about a year and a half ago, and that was actually the original start date of Scout and Cellar. We began in September of 2017, and I just got started because honestly, the product spoke to me. It was something new that I had never heard about before. I myself loved a glass of wine in the evening and had no idea what was lurking in the bottles that I was consuming.
All that poison that's hidden, that's deceptive.
Yes. And so once I heard not only the founder's mission of what she's doing for small family-owned vineyards all around the world that are doing wine the right way without the use of chemicals and pesticides, I wanted to share it with everybody. So I jumped on. I've been on for a year and a half. I've never looked back. That's all I drink. And I'm just so happy to share with you guys what I've learned on my journey with Scout and Cellar. Right. And so, the heart of all this is that, like Tammy said, we don't know what's in our bottles of wine that we're consuming. Until they put a label on the back, we just assume it's just grapes and a little bit of sulfites, which is what the grape makes. And a little bit and just a little bit of alcohol. But what we don't know is that the FDA allows up to so many chemicals to be put in a bottle of wine. Up to 250 different chemicals can be put in one bottle of wine.
Whoa, that's outrageous.
And you'll never know what chemicals. And the reason for this, because people ask, well, why would they do that? Why would these winemakers put chemicals in their crop that they're so proud of? And they do it for various reasons. To change the color of the wine, to make it more of a vibrant color, to give it a little bit of texture, to give it a little bit of sweetness. If the crop wasn't good that year, maybe they want to add a little bit of different flavoring agents to the wine.
That's tricky.
Yeah, and some wines they want to taste the same year after year after year, so they turn into a chemistry project to make that wine the same. But bottom line is,
we're the victims.
Yes.
We're victims of that.
Yes, and bottom line is, grapes are the only fruit in the world that will make wine naturally without anybody's help. But we are now added sulfites to it, up to 350 parts per million. The FDA allows that. We're adding sugar.
Headaches.
Yes, and we're adding sugar. Gobs of sugar in one bottle of wine could be 30 grams of sugar that they add. Wow. So it's all about just a mystery, and we're wanting to educate people because that's really what this company is based on, is just discovering the unknown good, sharing it along the way, and allowing people to have that glass of wine, and it's not going to ruin their healthy lifestyles.
Exactly. It can be part of a healthy lifestyle. I had a client who used an implanted glucose meter for a while just for education. And when she drank this kind of wine, her glucose went down.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that cool?
It's amazing. It is amazing.
And the thing that we teach our clients is food by God for the body by God. God made grapes. Fermentation is a natural process. So when you get it from the right place, it is real food.
Correct. Yes. And I know a lot of people say, well, how do I know that what is in this bottle is truly pure wine? And I know you were holding up your bottle, but this label right here is going to tell you that each bottle that Scout and Cellar has on their site goes through vigorous testing in order to be classified as clean crafted. And one of those tests is actually a chemical test. There is a lab out in California that we send the bottles to, and they will chemically test each and all of our bottles before they are put on our site for any trace of chemicals. So they can't have a single preservative because, as we know, grapes are part of the dirty dozen. So whatever you spray on the crop itself becomes part of the grape.
Let's come back to that because a lot of our viewers may not know what that means. The Environmental Working Group does a study every single year, and they find the 12 produce that have the most chemicals, that's the dirty dozen, and they find the clean 15, the ones that have the least chemicals like onions and avocado, and grapes are consistently in the dirty dozen. So if there are 12 foods that you need to invest in buying organically, grapes are among those, but there's more to it than that. So thank you for letting me interrupt.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
30 dozen chemicals. You're testing it for purity.
For purity. So a lot of these vineyards that are mass-produced wines, and when I mean mass-produced wines, it's the wines that you can go to any grocery store and they're going to be on the shelves. They have preservatives in them. They have to sit on a loading dock. They have to sit on a shelf for months and months and months. So they have preservatives added to that. But the chemicals that start in the vineyard is where Scout and Cellar starts. And that's a big part of the process. So a lot of these vineyards they're doing things naturally. They are dry farm techniques. They are using biodynamic techniques.
Let's go back to dry farm. Tell me what's the benefit of dry farming? I grew up in a farming community. I understand what that means, but some people have no clue.
So the dry farming technique is more of they are stimulating the roots to dive deeper down into the earth to get up more of the minerals. And so how do they do that? That's what people ask. Well, they really just don't water their crop.
Right.
They let their crop, they let their crop dry to almost to the point of death, to where it stimulates the roots to go down into the earth to look for some more water. And that's just a natural process.
So I'm getting more nutrients in
Correct.
that way.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So that's actually one thing. Now, if the crop is on the verge of death, they will absolutely water their crop. They don't want to lose their investment. But that is one type of technique of wines that we do get our collections from, our dry farm wines. We also get our collections from biodynamic farming. And these individuals are more about creating an ecosystem back into the earth, to not leave our carbon footprint.
Because God gave us the responsibility to be good stewards. And when I put chemicals on my lawn, or when I buy foods and products from companies that use chemicals, I'm polluting the earth for my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. And I think that's so important for each of us to change our part of the world for future generations.
Absolutely. And I know that's something that we hadn't thought about in years and years past, but chemicals can stay in the soil, the water, the air for years. And we just are now starting to realize that. There's a vineyard that we do get some of our wine from, and it's a beautiful vineyard. And some things they do to create an ecosystem is they would plant owl houses all around their crops, which would in turn draw in the owls, and the owls are there to help with the pests that would be in the vineyard. Or they would, the stream of water that would actually water the crop, they would put these certain fish, if they detected any toxins in the water at all, would actually turn belly up, and they would know that the water is unsafe. So it is very, very fascinating to find some of these biodynamic farms.
I never would have thought of that, even though I grew up in a ranching farming community. That's powerful. And I'm willing to spend a little more money I consider that an investment in the earth and in that farmer, and to reward him for doing it the right way. I love spending a little more money on that. It's worth it.
Yeah, and Scout and Cellar does go the extra mile. We have some of our wines that we partner with other vineyards that are that meet our standards, and Sarah is now bottling her own wine, which means she's just having a say on how it is used. But even the cork itself, you can see the carbon blueprint with all of our Scout and Cellar exclusive wines. They don't have the foil around them. Again, that's leaving a carbon blueprint. Yes. So the field house, the middle Jane, and some of our others. The
and you know what? Then I don't cut my hands.
Yeah, exactly. Easier access.
I never
the cork itself.
Yeah.
Once you take it out, it is called a Noma cork, and it is a biodegradable cork. Regular cork would take years and years and years to dissolve and biodegrade. This one is a Noma cork. So again, she's really looking out for the earth. She encourages you to recycle the bottle, but to not leave our carbon blueprint after we have our glass of wine.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we were talking about chemicals, and some people may think, oh, I don't need to invest that money because I can just buy organic wine. Tell me why an organic U.S. wine is not enough.
So organic just means what's happening in the field, where the crops are. So you can go to a Whole Foods and you can even see organic written on the label, but that doesn't tell you anything about what's in the bottle. It just says the grapes were not sprayed with any pesticides. Once it is turned into into wine, yeah, here we are, Jesus. Once it's turned into wine, they can add gobs and gobs of chemicals, and that's where the secret lies. Is what are they putting in the bottle?
Wow.
That, again, it'll say organic on the bottle, on the label, but it doesn't mean that it's an organic product.
And the other thing is that when like if you and I are farming and I'm spraying glyphosate poison on my crop, the wind blows it onto yours. Even though you're legitimately saying your grapes are organic, they're really still polluted, and the water is polluted and the soil is polluted.
Yeah, and that's why you have to lab test.
Yes.
That's the only way you're going to know.
At that label. I'm to the point where I almost don't even want to drink a bottle of wine if it doesn't have the right label on it. That's my
absolutely.
If I've got 30 bottles of wine, then it doesn't say Scout and Cellar on it except for the label. So that's really important, that little label right there. So we were talking about more than organic. It's about more than just organic. Yours is tested for purity, so you don't have all those chemicals in it. Let's talk a little bit about sugars and carbs. We talked about dry farming. When you're using dry farming methods, the grapes naturally have less sugar. Tell me more about the sugar and carb content of the wine.
So because there are no sugars added in the bottling process, the only sugar that you're ever going to find in a Scout and Cellar bottle, which most of them will have 1 to 2 grams of sugar in the entire bottle, is whatever is left over. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. These are dry wines, but when you take a grape that has natural sugar in it, and you have the natural yeast that grow on the grapes that are going to make it turn into wine, the yeast consume the sugars, which produces the alcohol. And all of our wines are fermented to dryness, which means there's very little sugar left at all in the grape, and it's all turned into wine. That's what makes them low sugar, therefore low carb, because there's not any sugars in the wine.
Perfect. So diabetics?
Diabetics, yes. We've had diabetics that consume it. Again, everything in moderation.
For sure. And ketosis, when someone wants to be in ketosis, a lot of times that daily glass of wine, they get so much pleasure from that, and ketosis can be hard anyway. That's enough to stop them. But our clients stay in ketosis because these wines are so low carb.
There's about 2 grams of carbs in a glass of a 5-ounce pour of Scout and Cellar wine, and about 100 calories in a 5-ounce pour.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to look over here at our list because we did prepare some thoughts before we got together. I'm going to come back to glyphosate again, just because that's so important to me. Glyphosate, let me back up and say again, in your body, you need a lot of good bacteria and just a little bit of bad bacteria. Glyphosate destroys the communication cycle in the bacteria. The cells, your human cells, glyphosate disrupts the bacteria and the communication between the bacteria more than it disrupts your human cells. Completely destroys your gut, because you have to have a lot of good bacteria in your gut and just a little bit of bad. So you said that yours are tested. You test every bottle to be sure there's no glyphosate.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
To me, that is huge.
Well, so, I'm gonna touching on glyphosate. You know, California and Americans, we back in the 1950s introduced pesticides into agricultural farming. Other countries really aren't doing what we are doing. So a lot of our wines on our site, although we do have a lot of California and some Oregon wines, a lot of our wines on our site are from other areas of the world, because there's just more of an abundance of wines out there that are European wines that don't have any of these pesticides or preservatives. About 1% to 2% of all of wines are considered what we call clean crafted in the entire world. So for us to find these wines, we are having to go outside of the United States, because they aren't using those products over there. Their standards are really, really high when it comes to their winemaking. But Scout and Cellar standards are even higher than that. We take it a little bit further, and we talk about the sugars, and we talk about the sulfites. So a lot of our wines on our sites are going to be from other areas, just because of the glyphosate that, you know, everybody has been talking about with the California wine.
Yeah, cool. And I noticed on Facebook just this week that Costco is going to eliminate Roundup from their shelves, and I'm so thrilled. That makes me want to do business even more with Costco. So tell me then, let's talk about price, because that's one of the things people are thinking, so we might as well talk about it. And my thought is, in fact, I'm going to ask you a tricky question. We didn't practice this.
Okay.
What is your most important investment? What is the most important thing to you?
Just in my life?
That's actually the answer.
Okay. Actually, yes.
I mean, yourself.
Yes.
Right? Your health is your greatest asset. You are the best investment. So if I can take a class and learn a skill that makes me better, that makes me able to do something, that was the best investment I could make. When I invest in my health, because my health affects what? What is your health? Everything.
My children, my husband, everything.
It does. When you don't feel good, it's the whole home that suffers. It's the people who you're not able to serve, because we're all here for a purpose. And yes, we have family, and yes, we have hobbies. We also have work, and we have missions. And so our health is our number one best investment, because it's our best asset. So if I spend more money on healthy food, that's great. I'm investing in myself.
You're worth it.
I'm absolutely worth it. Everybody, God created each of us for a purpose. So let's think then about the next question. What is the best way for me to get the wine? Can I go to the store and buy it? Can I get it? Do I have to buy 10 bottles a month? Tell me a little bit more about that, about how that works.
Well, that's what makes Scout and Cellar very unique. We are a wine club, but we are unique that you can buy individual bottles. You can go on our site and you can cherry pick whichever wines that you would like to try. Sarah does have some that she has put together as like a tasting set, which is a 4-bottle. That gives you a good indication of what Scout and Cellar is really all about. You'll have a white, maybe 2 reds, a sparkling, a rosé. $99 gets you free shipping, and that's really big nowadays, because shipping can really be expensive with wine.
It's heavy, and it's
heavy. So you take 4 bottles of these, and you can have them shipped for free if you just get to $99. And I really,
what I love about that, I don't have to go to the grocery store.
No.
FedEx
will bring it to you.
I don't have to walk through aisle after aisle after aisle and get deceived by the organic label and think I'm spending my money on something that's really not what I think it is. My time is priceless.
Yes.
That's worth a lot.
And with Scout and Cellar, you do get a consultant who will take you on this journey, because a lot of people don't know what to buy and they want a little bit of guidance. And so one of the consultants that can walk you through, well, let's talk about what wines you do like. And if you like this wine, let me show you this wine. I think its very characteristics are the same. I think you're going to love it. It's a new grape that you probably haven't ever thought about. And that's an amazing thing. I am trying so many wines that I couldn't pronounce the grapes. And so it is an awakening to, I just don't have to drink my cab. I'm from Texas. We drink cabs. But now I can drink all sorts of wines, and I can learn to enjoy them and pair them with food correctly. And that's what's been such an adventure and so fun. But yes, so unlike other ones, you can pick a few bottles of wine, get a group of people together, put in one big order if you want to try to get a bunch of wine. So, but you don't sign up for anything. There's no obligations. Sarah, her passion is to get these wines in everyone's home and to educate everybody on what really is out there and what they're putting in our wines these days. And so she doesn't want to have to make you sign up for a wine club and make you buy 6 bottles of wine a month. You really can do whatever you want to do.
It sounds like it's the best of both worlds. So I assume that if I have a membership, I'm going to pay a little bit less for my wine.
Absolutely. They do have discounts.
Yes. Do I have to pay a membership fee?
Nope. There's no membership to start. There's no membership fee to stop. You do get discounts. You get a volume discount, and you get a club discount. So 6 bottles of wine is 10%, and 12 bottles is 15%.
That's like way too good to be true. So I don't pay a membership. I can buy 1 bottle at a time. When I spend $99, I get free shipping. I have a consultant there who will help me to learn at my pace, one step at a time. I don't have to become a connoisseur, but I can learn a little bit. And the peace of mind that comes with getting that purity confirmed, certified pure, and I don't even have to go to the store. Wow. Okay. So then on our video, we will put a link where you can go to get your membership, because these bottles are not available in stores, right?
Correct.
You've done all the work for us of shopping and testing. So our store is online. I love shopping from my seat, from my desk, so that I don't have to drive and walk. Yes. I love that.
Me too.
All right. Is there anything else that we missed that you want to share?
I really think they just need to try them. The taste is really going to speak for itself, and they're going to really enjoy everything.
Let me say one thing about that, because not growing up with alcohol being very, very taboo, it was never in our home. I didn't know what dry meant, and I've used the terms differently than you. So to me, when I say dry, I mean the farming method where they don't irrigate. So when we say dry, it doesn't mean that every bottle of wine is the other definition, the wine dry. Tell me what
we say dry with Scout and Cellar. Dry means not sweet.
Yes.
So all of our wines are fermented to what we call dryness. And I think some people will mistake a dryness of that feeling it leaves on your tongue. They think that's dry. That's really not. That's just more of tannins and the texture of the wine. But our wines are more fruit forward. So you're going to really taste the fruits that you are supposed to taste in wine. But they are all fermented to dryness, which means no sugar added. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So lots of different synonyms there, different ways to use the word dry. Good. I'm glad we added that. Well, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed it.
And we'll have a link there for people to get in touch with us.
All right. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.